Oh, hello. Welcome once again to Stuff and Things, where I like to talk about stuff and occasionally even things. I'm your good friend Bradley, and today is a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. And on this pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things, we have stuff and things to talk about, including upcoming videos, things that you can look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays. We'll go briefly into how I deal with negative comments. Might be interesting for some of you who may be thinking about posting videos on YouTube, or if you have any sort of situation where you're putting content out there and people have the ability or the chance to comment upon it. I was hoping to do a box opening today, but that didn't arrive in time, so we're gonna have to scratch that. Scratch it. Scratch it. Ugh. We'll also talk a little bit about fitness, being fit over 40. And then, of course, we have your question. I think we have one question and then quite a few good comments in hashtag askstuffandthings. So let's get into it. All right, so what can you look forward to on Stuff and Things and Stuff and Things Plays? Number one, we have the full review of Fribourg Treyer Special Brown Flake. We did the first impressions video last Wednesday. The full review will be posting this Wednesday. And if you watched the first impressions video, you will know that I was initially a little put off because I could detect that there was rum on this blend, but then as I tried it, I could tell that it wasn't, very strongly flavored. It was more in line with kind of a traditional Navy flake, straight Virginia Navy flake with a little bit of rum topping. And now that I've had it for a good week, I've had most of the tin. I think there are a couple flakes left in here. I am ready for the full review. I just recorded it today and it will be posting this Wednesday. And it's a pretty interesting, intriguing blend. So you should check that out this Wednesday. There will be a review soonish, hopefully, of a new knife. The very first video I ever posted on this channel was a knife review. I think it was for a case trapper. And then I think the second video I ever posted, or one of the very first videos, was a review of a Great Eastern Cutlery, the American Jack, a really cool traditional slip joint knife. So we're kind of getting back to our roots here. This time it's going to be a Bark River knife. It's another American-made knife, and the knife is the Ultralite Bushcrafter, kind of a smaller fixed blade that you could maybe carry with you all the time. It's not a big like camping knife. But if you remember when I was discussing this before, I had gotten the knife and I wasn't happy with it, so I had to send it back. The new one is coming. It should arrive today, so hopefully this one will be good and I'll be able to do a review of the knife. And of course I'll be talking about that first knife that I got. I'll show you pictures of that and everything, so that'll be coming up soon. We also have the German notebook system that I've been waiting for forever now. It's been almost 3 weeks since it shipped, I think. It is finally in the United States now, and it has passed through customs, so hopefully that will be in my hands soon, and then I'm gonna have to use it for a couple weeks before I can do the review. And then obviously, Elden Ring is continuing on Stuff and Things Plays. God, I love that game. It is so, so good. You should definitely check the series out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Stuff and Things Plays. Brief little aside here, I'm trying a new wireless mic system right now. My old microphone kind of crapped out on me, and hopefully I can do this without turning it off accidentally. So now I have this Rode Wireless Go system plugged into a lavalier, and I'm hoping that all the audio sounds good. It looks like my levels are okay, but this is gonna make it a lot easier. I had just wires and cables everywhere, and even when I was sort of recording on location, if I wasn't using a camera-mounted microphone, I was using my lavalier with just like a long cord connected to the camera, and it made things kind of annoying. So hopefully the sound quality on this is gonna be good. Next topic. How do I deal with negative comments? This came up recently because I think my approach has evolved throughout the years since I have had this channel. Earlier on, I was probably more likely to see a negative comment, and without having had the experience that I have now, I would think, this person is being a jerk. I'm going to respond to this person. And I wouldn't be purposefully impolite in my responses, but I might be, I wouldn't even say aggressive, because I tried not to be aggressive, but I I might be a bit slightly confrontational, like, okay, why are you saying these things? And then actually I would try to engage them and have a conversation. Never works. Never ever works. And the thing you learn, and this is some advice for fresh YouTubers or content creators out there, you will learn that if somebody takes the time to say something that's just completely negative, trolling kind of comment, it's different if they have constructive criticism. But someone who just goes out of their way to be rude or inconsiderate, posting about your content, they are not interested in engaging in conversation, and they're not interested in having a constructive conversation. And it took me a while to really figure that out. And now my standard operating procedure for negative comments is to see a comment come in. If it's super negative and it's like the person is just a maniac, then I usually just delete it and ignore it. If someone is maybe not a huge fan of me, but they're not being extremely rude or disrespectful in the way they express it, I'll just leave it up and ignore it. But there's a certain kind of comment, and I got one recently, and that's what put this in mind, where their comment is negative towards me and towards the content, but they're also sort of being performative. Like they want other people to see what they're saying about the video. And I had one recently, there was a video I posted quite a while ago where it's about lowering the string height on my Martin 0015 guitar. And I do some things, I adjust the truss rod, and then I take the saddle out and I sand it down a little bit and adjust the strings. Fairly, straightforward video. And I got a comment from someone, a lot of it was in caps, and they were basically saying it's annoying because they took the comment down, and I'll get to that because this happens quite a bit. So I can't show it to you now, but it was basically like, this effing guy talks too effing much. And he actually didn't write out F-U-C-K, he wrote F-N, effing. This effing guy talks so much. And why does he use these terms? We're not all luthiers with $2,000 luthier tools. Just get to the point. Tell me about, I think he was saying like, tell me about how to adjust the truss rod, blah, 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 blah. So I saw this and, none of it was very accurate for the video posted. Like I did discuss the things that he was hoping to find out by watching the video. I wasn't using any complicated terms. I think I was, just talking about neck relief, and I explained that. I talked about string height, and I explained that. But I decided that I would answer this comment in the way I standardly answer these comments now, and that was to be really polite and nice. So when I answered the comment, I said, I'm pretty sure that I mentioned the things that you were asking for about, the truss rod adjustment, and then I sort of explained that, and then I said, if there were any terms that I used in the video that you didn't understand, why don't you tell me what they are, and I will try to explain them to you. Within 5 minutes of posting that comment, I went to go look to see if he had responded, and his comment was gone. This happens all the time. When someone, for whatever reason, they're having a bad day, maybe they're just a maniac, maybe they're a creep, maybe they're not, maybe there's something else going on. If they act out and put a comment like that, and then you respond like a polite human being and you treat them like a human being, they often feel guilty and they take that comment down because they've been shamed a little bit. What they want or what they're hoping for is for you to feed whatever aggression they're displaying. So if you aggressively or confrontationally respond to them, then they get fed. It's the whole cliche of don't feed the troll. And then they respond, and then you respond, and then they respond. If you just come out and act like a polite human being, because they don't see you as a human, I don't think. And once they get this response that shows that you are a human being, often, 9 times out of 10, they feel guilty, and they just go away. Now, just as easily, you could just ignore the comment completely, or you could get rid of it. I try not to get rid of too many comments unless they're just like super abusive and ridiculous. But, you could ignore it and you could pretty much accomplish the same thing. But every once in a while, I will take the time to answer a comment like that because maybe in some small way, it helps spread a little bit more politeness online. Anyway, I thought that was interesting, and you might like to hear about it. All right, this next topic is a little bit embarrassing for me, and I did something on social media that I wouldn't typically do, and it's something that I would often not criticize other people for, but maybe kind of think, you're sort of fishing for compliments there. And what I did was post a video of my fitness progression, or not a video, a picture of my fitness progression on Instagram. And like I said, it's not something I would normally do, but let me maybe try to justify it to you and tell you why I did it. Many of you don't even know this, but I am 44 years old. I'm old. And I've always tried to stay in good shape. I've always been, in my earlier 20s, I was more skinny than anything, but for the last 10 years or so, I've made more of a concerted effort to actually be strong, like doing a lot of crunches and push-ups and pull-ups and things like that, and trying to keep a really consistent schedule of working out. And recently I had unearthed a picture of me shirtless from when I was 26, and I was just struck. I was like, my God, am I a skinny little shrimp in that picture? And so often there's this constant refrain that once you hit a certain age, you can't be in shape anymore. So when I was in my teens, people are like, wait till you're 25, 26, you're gonna start putting on weight. And then when I got to be in my mid-20s, people are like, wait till you're 30. It'll be impossible to stay in shape. And then I got to be 30, and they're like, well, you may be in shape now, but wait till you're 40. That'll be impossible to stay in shape. And now that I'm in my 40s, I'm still in shape. And I think that the whole point of me posting this picture, I'll show you right now. On the left, when I am 26. On the right, now my current age at 44. The whole point of posting that was to show that this conventional wisdom is not really wisdom. I think for some people it's more difficult to stay in shape later in life because there are just more responsibilities and more things taking their time. They're not as naturally active. When you're younger, you're just more likely to be out doing more active things just because of the way your lifestyle plays out. When you're older, you may have to take the time. But I guess I just wanted to show that, no, you can be in good shape, and I'm not saying I'm in amazing shape or anything. There's still, I could probably gain, 15 pounds and probably be a little bit better than I am now, but I don't do anything that crazy to stay in shape. I have an active job, so that helps, obviously, but it's not as though I have to live the life of a monk or the life of someone like Tom Brady or something to stay in pretty good physical shape. I work out 3 or 4 days a week. It's nothing too crazy. I'm not dieting. I'm not depriving myself of things that I desperately want to eat. It's just kind of small little incremental lifestyle things that you can do and making it a lifestyle, like making working out a lifestyle. And again, I'm not talking about working out hours and hours every single day. It's like, 30 to 45 minutes, 3 days a week, and then being pretty active and moving around throughout the rest of the week, not dieting. I mean, I still eat sugar, I still eat the things I like, but just not going crazy, going excessively overboard with it. And I want to put that message out to people that yes, you can be in shape. Just because you become, just because you get to the age of 30 or 40 or whatever, it doesn't mean that suddenly it's impossible, that your body will just shut down and the only thing you can gain is fat and not muscle. You can be in good shape. So that's why I did it. And I probably won't be posting any more pictures like that on my Instagram, but just in case some of you were wondering. And no, I'm probably not going to start posting videos about workouts or anything like that because nothing I'm doing is groundbreaking or interesting, I don't think. It's just very basic stuff. So there you go. All right, gang, now it is time for hashtag #AskStuffandThings, and that is where you can ask me questions that I will answer on the Sunday Stuff and Things. If you would like to ask me a question, you can tweet at @SATBradley with the hashtag #AskStuffandThings. You can write to me on Patreon, and your question will go right to the front of the line if you are a Patreon supporter. You can leave me comments on YouTube videos. I like getting questions on YouTube videos, and I also like to get just your feedback on whatever subject I happen to have posted on that week. So first, via YouTube, we have a question from Les Brady. Les says, I've always been curious about why you chose USC, the University of Southern California. I'm from a SoCal town where SC is revered, and I had dreams of attending myself, though I ended up going elsewhere. I chose USC when I was 18 years old because I wanted to get into film, and that was considered a really good school for film on the West Coast. I wanted to stay on the West Coast. And UCLA, because, interestingly enough, UCLA was a public university, USC is a private university, so if I had been a resident of California, UCLA would have been cheaper for me to go to, but because USC was private, they actually offered more in terms of scholarships and financial aid. So I had a scholarship where all my tuition was paid for at USC, and I didn't have that kind of deal at UCLA. So that's basically why I went to USC. But then I didn't end up staying in the film program anyway. Thanks for the question, Les. Now we have some feedback. This is from last week's Sunday Stuff and Things. This is from Jason Hunt. So we talked a little bit about just taking a break. I had a couple days where I just did nothing, and that's kind of a rarity for me. Jason says, for me, my routine is what makes me appreciate it when I do get some time off. During my work week, I have a very effective schedule that keeps me on track. Most days after work, I get 1.5 hours to myself, and because I value that time so highly, I try to always fill it with the things I appreciate. I find if I take a vacation, I only need a few days, maybe a week at most. Anything longer than that, and I find myself wanting to get back to my job and my routine. Of course, it helps that I enjoy my job, and I am not just working where I could get work to pay bills. That being said, I only give my free time to things I wish to do. I am not one to follow a trend or keep up with the Joneses, as they say. Thanks for the feedback, Jason. From Chad Curtis, Bradley, you are lucky to be alive after the heat stroke incident. So I told a story about the travails I faced as an 18-year-old trying to drive down to California to go to college and had some car issues and heat stroke, got run over by my own car. Go watch the last Sunday Stuff and Things if you haven't heard that yet. That's a crazy story. Glad everything worked out. Times were a lot different pre-cell phone. And this wasn't pre-cell phone, it was just pre when everyone had a cell phone. It's strange to be part of the generation that saw both sides of the tech advancement and the trajectory of how different things are now. And that is very true, and that's something I think about a lot. I'm of the perfect age to have grown up in an analog world, but then I was young enough to fully engage with new technologies. So when the internet became ubiquitous and everything, I was young enough to really be able to engage with that and not feel kind of like a dinosaur out of place. So I really do straddle both of those worlds. And it's interesting, my older brother is only 3 years older than me, but he was just a little too old for that, and he does fine and everything with stuff now. But, you know, I was right in there with all that technology as it came up. But I also have that memory of, you know, riding my bike around. If I wanted to find something out, I rode my bike to the library and looked it up, you know? So very different world. This is from Megan, in our correspondent in Japan. It's a Monday Stuff and Things. It posts on Monday in Japan. I posted on here the worst thing that happened to me in 2018, shortly after it happened. Getting a case of acute appendicitis right here in Japan. I'm very lucky to be here because I was in denial that it was happening to me. Delayed my hospital trip for too long and my appendix ruptured. Ugh. The amazing doctors and nurses managed to catch it and flush it out in time. The scenario can affect anyone at any age, so I urge you to go to the hospital if it feels like something is stabbing you in the abdomen on your lower right side with a knife. And if there is a knife, go to the hospital as well. This is no exaggeration. It was easily 1,000 times worse than any menstrual cramps I've ever had. I can imagine. I've never had a menstrual cramp, but I could imagine they're not comfortable, and I imagine appendicitis is even worse. And from Wade Hampton, your story is chilling. You could have been killed. I'm really happy that you weren't, by the way. Since we live in a modern country, we don't have to worry too much about war, famine, pestilence, except for COVID-19, or many other things that you find in the rest of the world. You have to actually visit a third world country to see any of these sorts of things, for the most part. Well, I did, as a soldier in the U.S. Army. During the late 80s, I was stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, assigned to the 18th Airborne Corps. We were direct support for the 82nd Airborne Division, and we followed them to many of the hotspots around the world. In 1986, we were in Honduras and El Salvador during the civil wars that were plaguing the region. The worst thing that ever happened to me in my life was being wounded in an RPG attack on our compound. I received multiple penetrating wounds from the compressor fan blades of a running turbine generator that was hit by an RPG. Yikes. I lost a foot of my colon and suffered a badly broken back that had to be repaired with long titanium rods. Life is an interesting journey, and I'm happy to still be here to enjoy it. Wow. We're very happy you're still here to enjoy it, Wade, as well. Thank you for your service. That sounds pretty crazy, and I'm glad you survived that. Pretty much anything that happens to me is going to be pretty minor compared to that. And then Rick, this has been coming up a lot on the Sunday videos. Rick says, talks a lot and has little content. On and on and on. Waste of time, friends. This is another way I deal with negative comments. Sometimes I just post it, I pin it, and then I say something, polite afterwards. And then the rest of you just pile on the poor person, which you don't necessarily need to do, but I have to admit, I guess if I didn't want that to happen, I probably wouldn't post the comment or pin the comment. But this is a weird thing because the Sunday video, oh no, I'm almost out of battery. Excellent, see? No cord, so I can walk around and change the battery without having to unplug everything. And audio is still recording. Okay, as I was saying, it's always been kind of weird, or not always been, but it's only been the last couple weeks that I've been getting these comments on the Sunday videos. There have been several people saying, so much talk, where's the content? That's what the Sunday video is. The Sunday video is talking, and it's always been talking. The Wednesday video, the midweek video, is the content, I guess. I mean, talking is content too. I don't really know what the definition of content is as far as that goes. But yeah, the Sunday video is for me to talk about what's going on the channel, things that you can look forward to on the channel, maybe a few stories from my everyday life, engaging with the viewers. The Wednesday videos are the quote content, I guess. So just in case any of you are confused out there. But gang, now it is time for the very best part of the show, and that is where we thank our Patreon supporters. Oh Lord, do we really appreciate the Patreon support, especially now with inflation skyrocketing. I have to drive all over the place for work, and when gas is like $5.50 a gallon, it gets very expensive and makes it really, it's annoying when you have to drive 50 minutes to go to a job and then the job is done in half a day and you're like, was it even worth it for me to go down here with how much I'm spending on gas? So your support in times like this is super, super useful, especially because many of the videos we post cannot be monetized. Any videos about this stuff cannot be monetized on the channel. So it's very, very much appreciated. Thank you so much. There is a link in the description box below if you would like to support the channels on Patreon. You could also hit that super thanks button if you would like to donate directly. But every week we thank our Patreon supporters, people who have supported the channels at $25 or more a month. People like Kirk Crompton, Private Eye, Glenn, Just Glenn, Jason Buckner, Gloria Phillips, MDoftheNorth, and Mr. Luxurious, David Gaudreau. And of course the Maniacs, the crazy people who support the channel at $100 a month. People like our good friend and award-winning author, Peter Straub, stolid and dependable Bob Magee, and rising from the ashes, ashes of the Phoenix. Thank you all so much for your support. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the like button, share, do all that good stuff. Leave your comments, your questions, and your feedback as well. Please stay tuned for the full review of Fribourg and Treyer Special Brown Flake. That will be posting this Wednesday. And then soon, we will have that review of the Bark River Knives Ultralite Bushcrafter, the German notebook system, Elden Ring, continuing on Stuff and Things Plays every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But until next time, until we meet again, I've been your good friend Bradley. You've been the audience. This has been Stuff and Things on a very pleasant Sunday Stuff and Things. I'll see you later.